As everyone in this room knows, Republicans and this demonstrably unfit character, Jefferson Griffin, are out to steal the Supreme Court election. A move that would destroy the court as an institution and reveal North Carolina Republicans as unfailingly authoritarian, trying to cancel 60,000 votes, including those of military folks overseas.
So stupid.
Despicable and indefensible. But of course, no surprise. Phil Berger and his friends crushed democracy here in three dramatically unconstitutional ways. Extreme partisan gerrymandering, saying that we're, as North Carolinians, entitled to free but not fair elections, as if we were idiots. So we get a legislature that's 2/3 or almost 2/3 Republicans, though more Democrats actually get votes. Then when they lose statewide races, because you can't steal those by cheating on district lines, Republicans go into special session and rob the governor or the attorney general of powers guaranteed by the Constitution.
That's right.
Overturning election results indirectly and thumbing their nose at the voters of North Carolina.
Yes.
Creating a cycle of transgression that is capable literally of ending constitutional democracy in North Carolina, which is, of course, exactly their goal. What I think of as the North Carolina Republican vice grip, double entendre intended. Now with Griffin, we see that there is nothing that they won't stoop to. Nothing, literally. Waging war against the American experiment, the new sedition party. So we stand at this precipice. And everyone here knows it is all folks on board. I don't think we can meet this moment by promising delicate and deeply considered refinements of the status quo. I heard a good senator say the other day, Democrats are in love with subtlety. We need simple and strong terms of straightforward constitutional confrontation.
Yes, we do.
Words meant for Republican government. We can't always be the sweet, gentle, and civil ones.
Nope.
I think of Mick Jagger's charge. Sometimes you gotta scrape that shit right off your shoes. But I want to close by saying something about these two great honorees or special guests, the great Allison Riggs and the great Anita Earls. No one in North Carolina, no one, has done as much to save democracy in the Tar Heel State as Anita and Allison. And that's saying something. It's saying something astounding when you think about it. We have a lot of heroes in this place. But as lawyers, as activists, as scholars, as teachers, as two of the greatest justices ever to sit in the history of the North Carolina Supreme Court, and as a result of that, they, of course, have been more viciously attacked than virtually anyone in North Carolina. Their efforts have demanded more courage, more bravery, more steel, more grit than anyone. No wonder they've both been attacked through the Ethics Commission by Republican tools. For it is today deemed unethical, unacceptable, unthinkable to fight for human rights and human decency in North Carolina. Ken Burns said the other day something simple and straightforward. You either believe all the people are created equal or you don't. And if you do, things flow from that. For these two, things flow from that. and they live it out powerfully. If you believe everyone is equal, then you're going to be systematically attacked in North Carolina. No one knows that more clearly, more at close hand, than Anita Earls and Allison Riggs. Sort of like Atticus Finch. They do for us the hardest work, and they bear the costs willingly, or at least knowingly. They know that it's coming. They make me think of two other North Carolina women, figures of great courage and brilliance and consequence, Pauli Murray and Ella Baker. I was thinking of Pauli Murray's statement to Eleanor Roosevelt. There can be no compromise, Mrs. Roosevelt, on the question of equality. Or Ella Baker's instruction to us, as she uttered in her own time. Until we can get people to recognize that they themselves have to make the struggle, and they have to make the fight for freedom every day, in every year until we win. North Carolina's present day Pauli Murray and Ella Baker, Anita Earls and Allison Riggs.
Good evening. My name is Wesley. I'm the executive director here at Wake Dems. Let the record reflect I was supposed to speak before Professor Nichol. First, I want to address that I know there's a lot going on in the state and in the country right now, and I see all of the things that y'all see, and if you are feeling scared or anxious or you're worried, that's real, and I acknowledge those feelings, and what you are seeing is real. I see it too. I see the erosion of our democracy. I see the roots of oligarchy growing deeper, right? And I see some of our basic rights being stripped away, and I know that that's going to affect us. And I wish that I could say that everything's going to be okay, that it's all smoke and mirrors, and that there's nothing they can do to really harm us, but I'm not sure that that's true. But I am encouraged tonight, and it's not because I don't see those things, but it is because I am looking forward to what we are going to be able to build together here in Wake County, in North Carolina, and in the country. I can see 2032. I can see a Democratic majority in the General Assembly fully funding our public schools. Raising wages for workers and restoring a woman's right to choose. And I can see 2032 because I can see 2030. I can see 2 decades worth of righteous anger over rigged maps and unfair elections bubbling over, and I can see court-ordered maps that make that fight for us fair. I can see that in 2030 because I can see 2028, where we are going to retake a majority on our state Supreme Court. By the way, a partisan fight we did not ask for, but that we are willing to put up a fight for. I can see a Chief Justice seated that believes we have both free and fair elections. I can see Democratic majorities elected to the U.S. House and to the U.S. Senate, and yes, a Democratic president, but I won't tell you who I think that should be. I know my lane. So I'll say that I can see 2028 because I see 2026 when we re-elect Anita Earls to the state. 2026 because I see 2025. I see town councils and commissions across the county, every single one of them being represented by a Democratic majority. And yes, even in College Springs, and even in Newport, and we're deciding to go and and I know that we can do that because I see what we have ahead of us for the next 264 days. And I know the people that I'm volunteering and working alongside. volunteers who postpone their cancer treatments until after Election Day so they can keep canvassing. Volunteers who drive from Apex to Zebulon to go find a competitive gerrymandered state Senate seat or state House seat to go canvass in. Volunteers who are committed, who give up their full-time jobs, retire early to serve on our data management corps. Y'all, the people that are volunteering with us at Wake Dems are some of the most remarkable people that I've ever met, and I know that the work that they are going to do over the next 264 days is going to flip every remaining town council and commission, because I see a room full of people who are willing to invest in that fight. So all I have to ask for you is, before you leave the event, if you had a good time, if you still got a little bit of fight in you, would you help fund the work that we are doing every day? Scan that QR code, visit that site on the back, and help us double the impact of your contributions. Thank you very much.
Through either one of them, their biography, except to say, both of these women were forged by steel. They were really, they had things in their lives that happened to them that made them champions of people. And you can see that in the way they conduct themselves and how they stand up, even when it's not easy. And the fact that both of them have come under fire for doing the right thing, and they still persist. What was that thing about persisting? Nevertheless, and here they are. So I am excited. We are all at Wake Dems so incredibly excited to honor our sweethearts. And what are sweethearts? Sometimes they're actual couples, partners, married couples. Sometimes they come from our volunteer body. Sometimes they don't. What are sweethearts? These are people who have a love of democracy, and they demonstrate that love of democracy, and they walk in love of democracy, even when it's not easy. So I would like to invite Justices Earls and Riggs to the podium, and I would like to give each of them a minute or two to say whatever the heck is on their minds.
Took so many statewide seats. And we did the first thing that we needed to do to restore justice in this state. We held my seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court. Now, you might be saying, then why do I still see her so much and hear her so much? And I'll say this, what we're going through to defend the win that we secured by phone banking, by canvassing, by persuading, by showing up in real community in this county and in this state, what we are having to deal with now, we shouldn't have to be.
You're right.
It is not normal, it is not okay, and we will not sanitize it as correcting the vote count when it's disenfranchisement. And promise you it will be over tomorrow or next week. And it won't. It's going to be 6 to 12 months. And that is hard. I promise. I understand. But this is also what I promise. One is I will turn all of these lemons into lemonade, and we will use this fight as a ramp to get this wonderful woman reelected. She is the moral North Star for anyone with constitutional convictions in this state or in this country. We will use what is happening now as an accountability into the ballot box without understanding that you better not elect a judge who cares more about winning or losing than the Constitution. We had a path to winning back our court in 2028, and you did the work to keep us on that path. If Republicans want to pave that path for us, then fine, we will take on this fight. We will not yield, and we will stand up and defend every single one of those 65,000 voters' right to be heard. Thank you for what you did last year. Thank you for what you're doing right now, and thank you for what you're going to do with us over the next few years and beyond.
Good evening, Lake County Democrats. I want to first thank you so much for recognizing this amazing champion that we have. And I have to tell you that as I have seen close up what she has been through these past few weeks, I can only tell you that this recognition means the world to her and to me, because it has not been easy. And for you to acknowledge and recognize the strength that she has to stand up for our right to vote, I'm enormously grateful to you, so thank you for that. I also have to thank Gene Nichol. What he didn't tell you was that I got to come back to North Carolina because he had the courage to take a risk on me and let me work at what was the Center for Civil Rights, now eliminated by the Republicans. But he gave me the opportunity to come back and work with Julius Chambers, and he trusted me to carry that out, and he supported me in every lawsuit that I wanted to file. So thank you, Julius. I'm going to be very brief, but I want to explain, make clear to you why our courts matter so much, and in fact why North Carolina courts matter so much. And here's the absolute truth. If the court had not reversed itself on whether or not the extreme partisan gerrymander is constitutional under our state constitution, we would today have a 7-7 Democratic delegation in Congress. And if we had a 7-7 Democratic Republican delegation in Congress, the Congress today would be under the control of Democrats, and the King Jeffries would be people The statewide Democratic Party has established a joint judicial caucus that worked in 2024, that is building on those efforts. We're raising money to support our statewide judicial candidates. We meet regularly. We are already planning for 2026. We are thinking about what kind of bench we need to bring forward to fill those 3 seats that are up in 2028. So there is real thought, strategy, finances, everything you can imagine we need, both on the party side, on the C4 side, and on the candidate side. We're putting together a realistic plan that will work. And so what I want to leave you with is to remind you that I was part of the majority of our court when it was a Democratic court that said that extreme partisan gerrymandering is unconstitutional. I was part of the majority of our court when it was a Democratic court that said when the legislature passed the voter ID law, they did that in a way that was intentionally racially discriminatory, and that is unconstitutional under our state constitution. That was reversed by the court when it flipped hands. I was part of the court when it was a Democratic court that said that that your right to a sound basic education needs to be adequately funded. And if the General Assembly won't allocate those funds, it's the court's responsibility to uphold that constitutional right and make sure that that right is adequately funded. To tell you that it makes a difference who is on our court. And I have a record that I am running on, and I will need your help. I need you. I need you not only to tell people people about why it matters and how it affects their daily lives. I need you to invite me to events. Let me come and talk to people directly, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be really ugly. You're going to hear some nasty things about me. Most of them won't be true. But I believe that if I can get enough people to know who I am and understand why it matters, that I can overcome that. And so finally, I am already campaigning. I'm on Act Blue. You can contribute to my campaign. Help me build a war chest early on. I need all the things that you can do. And I promise you that I will be in this 110%. Working for the next 2 years to give our voters an understanding of what's at stake, why it matters, and how we can make a difference. And so I have one final ask of you, and that is to be joyful. This is a wonderful event celebrating Valentine's Day, and I think that we as a party need to remember, in these dark days when it feels like the hurdles are so high, when it feels like we have worked so hard and we're still not where we need to be, we have to remember to be joyful and to find fun in what we're doing. Because we are the party who actually believes in love. I'm going to tell you why. I'm the daughter of a black man and a white woman who got married when it was illegal for them to be married. And so, it's only because of the principles that this party stands for that we understand that people should be able to love whoever they love.
Yes.
We are the party that believes in the essential human rights of every single individual, that we are all equal, and that we are all important to our democracy. And so, as we celebrate Valentine's Day, remember to be joyful about the fact that we are the party of love, and that in the end, that will make the difference. Thank you.